what's this receiving core?
Oh, I think it's terrible. I think it's awful. I think it's absolutely horrendous.
Wait a second. There's a penalty on the play, and I'm like, what?
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from 2 men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
Join us on the phone. We have NFL prospect and future XFL player Jeremiah Spicer.
I don't know, man. I don't like to talk about myself like that, man.
Yeah, I told him if Raiders took in Oliver, I was going to take him in the bathroom. One twice.
Dude, I like some shirt I got. Slow roll. Slow roll down.
Well, they say it's not the X's and the O's, the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee. Alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCaprio.
Welcome, Know-It-Alls, back for another edition of Football on the Know Show. Ready
what
to
did they
go
put
here.
In this monster?
And it's a little awkward for us as well because it's on a Tuesday. I have to remind myself that it's Tuesday, and tomorrow
Taco
is not
Tuesday.
football. So
Yes.
I'm sad inside because we're not there yet for Thursday Night Football. But however, it is a early and interesting episode nonetheless.
Yeah,
Just throwing
it always
together.
is. Yeah, with me, it's always surprises, But, tomorrow night's my anniversary, so it's going to be a special night.
Yeah,
We got
definitely.
a lot of other stuff going on.
Congratulations,
Well,
buddy.
thank you, man. It's been a special run. So, all right.
And still going.
Yes, definitely. Found the right woman to put up with my garbage. And but the good thing about Tuesday, though, is I'm super hyped about last night's game. We had Monday Night Football last night.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it was the Bears and the Washington Redskins, and holy moly, did the Bears defense just show up, and Khalil Mack was a beast out there. And it's funny is when Joe Tessitore and they go over it in the beginning of the game, they all bring up the fact that, Case Keenum has thrown 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. I'm like, you just jinxed him. I swear you just jinxed him. And it did. Once it comes right out of the bat, throws a pick six to Ha Clinton Dix.
Yeah.
And Kevin Harlan, I was listening to it on the radio. Kevin Harlan's call of that play is absolutely amazing. I love it when he calls NFL games. I mean, that is ridiculous, dude.
Right.
He should do it all the time. I'm used to hearing him during
There's
basketball.
only so much of him to go
but
around.
I don't know, man. He sounded really great. I mean, that was awesome having him on there.
You know what I get a kick out of is they were discussing the Chicago Bears defense, after sack and how much pressure he was putting on. The fact that they brought up, they're like, with the addition of Khalil Mack, this defense took a huge step forward. How about no? How about that defense was already top 5 defense, and then by adding Mack, it just made them like the number 1. You know what I mean? He definitely improved the defense, but look at all the weapons that they already had.
Yeah.
They're already a top 5. It's not just Mack. I think they put too much emphasis on the fact that Mack makes a lot of plays, but that's because he has the freedom to now. He has help. He didn't have that with the Raiders. It was just him and only him. So he was double-teamed every down.
That defense came out strong. It started attacking Case Keenum. I don't know how he had a lot of turnovers. Couldn't get it going. They go up 28-3 at the half. And Mitch Trubisky, all the pressure was on him. Can he make the plays and get the throws and simplify things all over the middle? Taylor Gabriel was amazing too. 3 touchdowns right there in the first
catches.
half. That one catch he had in the corner right at the pylon.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that play! I jumped out of my seat during that play.
Yeah,
It was
the
crazy.
only thing about that particular play for me is I wanted to see the other side of his shoe. Because to me it looked so close to the sidelines and it looked like it almost touched the sidelines to the point where I wanted to see a different angle. Now, granted, they're not going to give the home viewers whatever they want, but I'm interested to see their point of view and their angles and what they saw with that play, because it was so close to that sideline. Yes, it was a phenomenal catch. It was a great awareness by Taylor Gabriel to get his feet in place to catch that touchdown pass, but just it's a little curious to say the least.
Oh, we've got somebody.
We got
at
a
the door,
visitor.
Joe. It's Larry Christoph is joining us here from Facebook.
Hey, Larry, welcome to the show.
Yeah, all right. And he says looks like he's got a fantasy question or so. He's like, you got Connor or Henry for the rest of the season?
Ooh, that's a good question. A very good question. Now, here's the interesting thing is when you compare those two, you look at the offensive lines first and foremost. You have to because of blocking. Pittsburgh Steelers do have one of the best blocking offensive lines in the NFL, and the Titans are no slouch either. It's just that as of right now, they're without Taylor Lewan on that left side, which is really, really inhibiting the offensive play of the Tennessee Titans. Nonetheless, Derrick Henry is an absolute beast. We saw him against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. He was able to still put up yards against that defense. James Conner, he's going to be utilized, but however, we saw last year he got banged up as the season progressed and wasn't able to sustain the full workload for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did get banged up and ended up losing a few games to the backups there. So for me, I go with durability and longevity, and Derrick Henry, to me, is the guy that you must keep, especially in your lineups. You know, you do have to play the mismatches here and there. However, I really, really do like Derrick Henry going forward. He's very durable. They have that mentality to run the ball more often than they did last season. But James Conner still is a good guy. But if you have to choose between the two, I would play the matchups, to be honest. But I do lean heavily towards Derrick Henry because of his durability.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I'd agree with you there too. Again, James Conner, he was looking a little rough this season too. So are the Pittsburgh Steelers altogether though.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's tough to try and pick on that. Like you said, explosibility here with Henry. So Derrick Henry. So I mean, yeah, if they
guy's a
continue
truck.
to utilize him,
guy's a
we'll
truck.
see. He is the key to their offense here as they move forward. So we'll see how it goes with them. Another game this season. You want to talk about a little bit. The mustache Minshew.
That's right.
There you go. The fire. Everybody, the whole world's been around this guy just because of his look and the style. I mean, when he compared him to Tom Brady, like which guy is the 40-year-old guy in the NFL? Finally, they pull out their first win. He's super hyped and excited. Jacksonville gets it going, but still, despite even winning, you've got Jalen Ramsey says, "Oh, I'm calling in sick today. And it might be a whole week.
The whole week, I'm very
whole
sick.
Week. So what's going on in Jacksonville?
Well, quite simply, this is the whole breakdown is this. Jalen Ramsey wants out, and Shad Khan, the ownership of the Jacksonville Jaguars, he wants him to stay. And Shad Khan has come out and has publicly stated that he's fully prepared to pay Jalen Ramsey to keep him there. But Ramsey himself says, I want out anyway. He doesn't want to stay in Jacksonville. Now, here's what I'm questioning is for Jalen Ramsey, like, why don't you want to stay with this team? Do you not like the direction that they are heading? I think they got a bright future as long as they keep developing Gardner Minshew as well. You still are going to get Nick Foles towards the end of the season back. But who knows? I think Foles, he could be potentially done as the starter. If Minshew keeps up his progression and keeps up his positive play, keeps up his numbers, Minshew, you're not going to yank him out if he's having success throughout the season. And then Nick Foles comes back like, hey, I'm ready to take over my starting job. I'm sorry, Nick. We can't take the guy out if he's doing that well. So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. But Jalen Ramsey, hey, it's going to be a little bit of a power struggle between the ownership. They don't want to let him go, but Ramsey is pretty steadfast and says he really, really wants out. And we've seen a lot of, grievances with past players. Maybe someone like AB who wanted to leave as soon as he got to Oakland, pretty much. But I don't know if Ramsey's going to take it that far. But Ramsey, nonetheless, is something to really keep an eye on. I think if he really, truly wants out of there, he's going to get out of there by week 8. And to what team, we have no idea. There's going to be plenty of suitors out there, but they got to be willing to not only give up the high compensation for him, but also be willing to give up the huge contract that he's seeking.
And then one of the interesting takes here for this last week, too, was Philadelphia and Detroit. Philadelphia, again, not looking so hot. Put a lot of pressure there on Carson Wentz. He had to make another late drive in the end to try and get the go-ahead touchdown here.
Right.
And, right in the receiver's hands, too.
Nelson
and he had
Aguilar.
it. He had it, but couldn't get it and couldn't bring it in.
Dropped
and
it,
they go
man.
lose by then. But a team that a lot of people thought was super stacked here and ready to go to maybe make another Super Bowl run or even take the division, not looking so hot. And some are placing blame on the injuries of some of the wide receivers.
It's hard not to.
Well, it is a little bit, but again, they didn't look very good the first week against the Washington Redskins either, who is now 0-3. So, I mean, what kind of Eagles team are we really getting here?
I mean, when you look at the Eagles right now, when they played the Redskins, it's a rivalry game. First of all, it's a divisional game. Usually those games are always close no matter what talent level you're playing against. But what we saw this past week against the Lions is you saw a weak secondary. You saw a secondary that's not able to pass protect, not pass protect, but pass defend these other opposing offenses. They're struggling at the very least. And then you go flip the coin on the other side, on offensive side there. They got no receivers this week. Their number one was Nelson Aguilar. They had no Alshon Jeffrey. They were missing a lot of players, and that's what really hurt them offensively. They had to rely on Nelson Aguilar, and he played admirably. He played very, very well for them. However, he was the only go-to guy they had. They couldn't really spread it around because we've seen J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who I am very high on. He just needs to further develop his game, and it was a deep bomb for him around the 5-yard line. He jumped up and it went right through his hands. Quite simply, he just dropped the ball. So some concerns with the youth that they had out there on the field. But, hey, they play the cards that they're dealt with, and they tried to make it work, and it just didn't end up working.
And one of the other games I wanted to look at, too, is the Atlanta Falcons. They happen to be struggling, too, as well.
Right.
And the Indianapolis Colts pull out of there with a win. And a lot of people, once Andrew Luck went down, they thought the season's doomed. What are they going to do? Make the trade for Eli Manning? What's going to happen? And, again, a lot of us have said that have been watching this team, knew they're going to be good coming up, and don't sleep on Jacoby Brissett. And it seems like he's handling it fairly well here. Him and Matty Ice met at the game afterwards, shook hands, and the respect there for each other. And Jacoby Brissett can lead this team. You've got a lot of other talented players there, not besides Andrew Luck and stuff. So they need to focus on the offense through Marlon Mack to get him involved in the running game. And Indianapolis pulling out a win here against the Atlanta Falcons, and they're looking in a little trouble there as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Colts is they're pleasantly surprising a lot of people. If people don't remember the fact the last time when Andrew Luck was out of the season, Jacoby Brissett had to take it over. He didn't have an offensive line to protect him. He took a lot of hits and still was somewhat successful week in and week out. Now we fast forward it. Andrew Luck retires, and Jacoby Brissett is handed the torch for Indy, and he's doing extremely well because why? They have built a really, really solid, one of the best offensive lines in this league right now, young, and is going to be there hopefully for a long time in front of him to help pass protect, to help run block for Marlon Mack. He's healthy. He got a little banged up 2 weeks ago, but he still was involved in this offense, did a very good job. And you talk about weapons. They've never had more weapons in the receiving core since like Marvin Harrison was on this team. Now they have T.Y. Hilton. He got a little bit banged up this past week. Let's wait and see if he's going to be able to come back. But Devin Funchess, he's already on IR, but they still managed to make it work. Eric Ebron at tight end. Chester Rogers at wide receiver, who was a big major contributor last season. They have a bunch of weapons. Now just wait until they get all of them back healthy. When T.Y. Hilton is 100% healthy, when Devin Funchess comes back, you're really going to see this offense rolling. And as far as the Falcons go, it's hard to pinpoint what's the problem there. Is it the defense? I mean, I saw a lackluster defensive play in that game. You got to kind of wonder what is going on in Atlanta. Is the offense, now that Dirk Cutter has taken it over, is there going to be, and it looks like there's going to be a little bit of,
a bit of growing pains?
Yeah, a little bit of a growing pains because it's slightly different than what they were doing last season. So They have to develop. They have to get that chemistry going. They got to get the understanding of the playbook a little bit better. And even though they have a huge amount of weapons there, it's not enough to overcome the playbook that they need to get through.
And one of the other games, too, as well, I wanted to go over is finally we get to see, after all the hype and quarterback controversy, and it says Daniel Jones gets his first start against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Giants come out like they've been doing and not very good and stalling a bit on offense, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just rocking and rolling, getting up to a big start, and Mike Evans, well, he's been a true starter.
Finally woke up.
Finally woke up here, and against Janoris Jenkins, which is kind of telling here again, because it goes to show you, is Janoris Jenkins now finally seeing now where he can't keep up with that number one receiver? It doesn't have that step with him, and now the Giants need to really take a look at some of these other youthful guys they have here at the corner position. And what I noticed in that game, they're playing a lot of single high safety, putting Jabril Peppers here on one of their receivers and leaving Bethea back there. And he had to pick a side. So, I mean, they're just like picking off the side, whatever piece they could here, and he would get over late to help make, somebody over the top get the tackle, and they just got picked apart. But it was a tale of two halves, Joe. They got up big in the first half. Second half, the Giants come back in it without Saquon Barkley. He gets down for a little injury there, too. And they come back, and Daniel Jones runs in that touchdown there on that one play here. Yeah. Sees everybody's covered, man coverage, takes off running. And the one thing that people knocked out on Eli, he can't run. Daniel Jones, what I knew when I saw him, too, like in the draft where I wanted him over Dwayne Haskins, he had legs. And I saw this offensive line, we needed somebody like that. And it ended up working out. And especially even on that fake jet sweep like handoff, they pulled that same play 3 times before that. Halfback kept it every time. I said to myself, one time Daniel Jones got to keep it and go out because nobody's even seeing that. They're just going to running back the whole time. They're not giving him that respect. And that's when he took it in for the end zone too. And they pull out a win just on a missed field goal attempt, but that kicker also missed 2 extra points as well. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a a pun on purpose are really kicking themselves.
The Buccaneers, their kicking troubles and kicking issues are still continuing,
issues across the NFL,
which is baffling the hell out of me because you can find kickers. I don't know why the teams are making it that hard to find. You just keep bringing them in until you try out and you find the right guy that's going to be able to make those field goals, who has the boot to do so. And I don't think Tampa Bay's done enough research. I mean, you look at what the Bears have done. Now, the Bears have gone through some major issues on kicking, and they had a horrible time on trying to find one. They ended up trading for a kicker to bring him in. They traded for Eddie Pinheiro, who was 2 years ago was a draft pick, a 5th-round draft pick from the Raiders. And he got injured last season, was done for the year. They were kind of concerned about his injury, but Chicago calls, says, hey, we want to give the kid a shot. Trade him to us. Okay. And what do you know? He's healthy, and he kicks the game-winning field goal prior, with the Bears. So there are kickers out there that you just got to do the research. You got to go and maybe you need to make a trade for somebody. Maybe not. But all in all, they're out there. Tampa, get to work. But, yeah, this game was very exciting. I mean, maybe not in the beginning part. We kind of saw Tampa Bay kind of really take charge. And you had to expect that because a rookie quarterback coming in, he had to get the game feel. The speed of the game is a big difference from college. And I didn't think the limelight was too big for Daniel Jones. I was just waiting to see how this offense was going to be called on the field, how he was going to be able to adapt and make the plays that he needed to make, but not do too much. And that is exactly what he did. By the second half of the game, you started to see the Giants get a little bit of a flow. With the addition of Daniel Jones in the lineup, it forced Pat Shurmur to call a different game. You no longer can rely on your quarterback to throw a lot to create openings for your running game. Now you had to rely in reverse. You had to utilize your running game. You had to do play action because of his mobility. It gives him a threat to the defense. And the defense, like you said before, they didn't really fully respect him when they were pulling out those RPOs and everything. But now he's put himself on notice to everybody in the league that's going to have to face the Giants offensively. You're going to have to be aware of his mobility. He can take off like a cannon. He has speed. Be aware. So that's going to change everybody's game plan going forward whenever they play the Giants now, because they can't rely on Eli just standing back there and I'm like, I can't run. You got me. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like that anymore. So that's promising. And also, defensively, the Giants, you're right, they have to find help some way, shape, or form. They went out and they drafted a couple of corners. I still have yet to see them out on the field, giving them an opportunity to see what they can do. They've had a whole training camp under that defense, learning the playbook, establishing themselves in training camp. Why not give the kids a shot? Julian Love, I love his game in Notre Dame. I think he could transfer very well to the NFL. Give him a shot. You mentioned Janoris Jenkins. He's sliding a little bit because now his body is catching up to him age-wise, and he's not the same guy anymore. He doesn't have the same amount of speed, not talent-wise. Like, he still has the mind for the game. It's just he can't physically do it anymore. So get the young guys in there. Give them shots. You don't have to put both guys in right away, but try out one, see how he does. If he holds up, great. And then bring in the other guy and see what he can do. Got to mix it up. And as far as your point on the single high safety, with this defense and its struggles against the pass, you got to stop leaving a safety on an island to cover sideline to sideline. He's got to pick a side, and whatever side he picks, the quarterback's going to throw the opposite side for man-to-man coverage. So the Giants got to reevaluate how they're going forward and dial it back in. You know, maybe go back to that cover two. You have both safeties that can cover both halves of the field, and it might improve this defense along with the changes
like
at corner.
Said, and bring in some of the other guys. See if this is a see what we have year, and see how it works and work through the kinks. Why not throw the guys out there and throw them right into it? If you're already throwing Daniel Jones out there, your defense can't get any worse. You're like 31st in the NFL.
They've had every opportunity. Now they have full confidence in their scouting staff, right? Well, if you did that and you took these kids out of the draft in the middle rounds in believing that they could develop into something, why not give them a shot right now? Your pass defense is being obliterated by opposing offenses. Why not give them a shot, see if anything changes?
Definitely. And one of the other games I thought was interesting was New Orleans going in there with Teddy Bridgewater. We weren't going to see if we weren't sure if we were going to see Taysom Hill too, or Bridgewater, but going into Seattle, which their winning record is ridiculous. You know, Russell Wilson, the strong running game, Chris Carson lit it up at times in that game. Right. And for New Orleans to come out of there with a win, I was surprised. This is one of the games that we lost when we did our picks, and one of the only. By the way, we did amazing in our picks this week again. New Orleans comes out of there with a win against Seattle. My mind was blown in that game. But you know what? It goes to show you what Sean Payton can do. Always sticks with a game plan. Doesn't rush things, doesn't get scared, you know what I'm saying? And work their way through it. And Alvin Kamara, again, have a big day. And to go into Seattle and pull out a win with a backup quarterback like that, you can't ask for anything better. Yeah,
I mean, in Seattle, I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing because I did watch the majority of that game. And as much as, we say Russell Wilson is the offense, he truly is, and it's all up to him. I just think at this point, in order for Seattle to get over the hump, they got to give this guy more help. I mean, their offensive line is doing okay. It's not the best. It's not the worst. But Chris Carson turning the ball over again this week, fumbling, that's got to be corrected. DK, I mean, he threw it up to DK in the corner of the end zone just for like a 50-50 ball, but never really could connect. There was some mistakes made throughout that game offensively and defensively. But I was surprised. I was really surprised that Seattle kind of went under and they ended up losing that game.
Yeah. And now the game we want to get to here, though, is Carolina. Another rookie starts in here, and it's Kyle Allen. And he goes into Arizona, where I think this is, if any of the games here that Arizona could possibly win, this is probably it. Kyler Murray could show off. He's got his veterans there. He is their starter moving forward in that tough defense. But Carolina, Kyle Allen goes in and surprises everybody again, hits everybody. Of course, you're going to get Christian McCaffrey there, and he was lighting it up on the field all day long. But Kyle Allen goes in there and dismantles Arizona, everybody's surprised to where now people are making questions about Cam Newton. What's going on? Should they even just keep him out? Should they try and move him? Is he going to retire, become a fashionista or something like that? Who knows? Do a different thing. I'm not sure. With the way this NFL is changing, with people decide not to play, they want to go somewhere else. They want to just retire early, or maybe they want to come back. Antonio Brown can't even play anymore. We don't know, and they go back to college. And it's just this NFL is crazy right now. Things are open, so people are throwing out different scenarios about Cam Newton now. Now, what do you think moving forward with the Carolina Panthers? What they're going to do here with Cam Newton then?
I mean, I think it's too premature right now to move on from Cam. I know there's some people out there that are throwing those ideas out. Oh, move on from Kyle Allen played well, but listen, it's his first start. He did a good job. He handled what he had to handle, and the offense was successful because of it. Great. But that doesn't mean you go ahead and you get rid of Cam Newton. As much as you know I can't stand Cam Newton as a quarterback, I don't think you move on from him just yet. You've tailored this offense to fit Cam Newton. Now you bring in Kyle Allen. Now, yes, he was successful this week, but that was also against a not-so-great defense and a team that's struggling and is rebuilding from scratch. You know, they have a rookie quarterback. They got a terrible offensive line to help protect. They do have some weapons, which is nice, but defensively, there are a lot of older veterans. They got, and bottom line, they just got to keep building. So they faced a team that is struggling right now, a team that's trying to find their way, trying to find their identity, and until they do, they're not going to be very competitive throughout the season. So Kyle Allen, you know, it's kind of like it was like a soft game for him. You know, it was like soft pitch baseball, and he smacked the ball out of the park. So Kyle Allen did a great job for his first start. Let's wait and see what he can do going forward now. If Cam Newton is out yet again, which is being reported right now that he will miss week 4 as well, and it will be up to Kyle Allen. Let's see how he does the second week, you know, against a little bit better of a team. So,
All right, now just take a look at his career stats right here, Cam Newton. He's 71-59. He's got 33,847 yards. Now, in the parentheses there, 4,806 are all his rushing yards. You know, and so he has a combined total of 33,847 touchdowns. 240 touchdowns combined. 58 of those are rushing touchdowns here, and 108 interceptions. So, I mean, which brings you to a quarterback rating of 86.1. So he's roughly,
which is good.
Yeah, Eli Manning kind of standards a little bit here in some of these stats. You know, at this point in his career, he is a 3-time Pro Bowler, and I got it off the screen here, but he is an NFL MVP in 2015. And he was the Rookie of the Year, too, in 2015, and Offensive Player of the Year in 2015 as well. So he has some pretty good stats here for his career moving forward. But with the injuries and the hits, like everybody had talked about, he's treated differently by the referees. He takes a lot of hits, and there's not a lot of flags against him because of his stature.
I mean,
and stuff.
helmet to helmet.
But yeah, I mean, head collisions, now the ankle, but the shoulder. I mean, and he's a younger guy, and he's into other things. He's not just, you know, football isn't just his gig.
Right.
He loves to be the guy that goes in there with the different fashions and stuff. He
call
loves
that
to be
fashion?
the guy. Well, I mean, he was given awards for the fashion that he's had. So looking at his career stats again, I mean, does he just walk away from the game a little bit after this, or is he still into it? Because one thing we have seen within games with winning and losing, when they lose, he is just down in the dumps, not feeling good. It's like, oh, I don't know anymore. And then when they win, you know, he feels good and he's having fun. So is it going to be a decision with him? Is the game just not going to be fun anymore for him, or whatnot? And moving forward, you know, with the Carolina Panthers. So
yeah,
right now they're keeping it afloat with Kyle Allen. But we'll see what happens moving forward, I guess, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing is sometimes you see him in the press conferences and he just forgets to put his big boy pants on. You know, he like kind of you see some of these other quarterbacks. Like look at Mitchell Trubisky. He's another really young guy. He admitted as much after the Chicago Bear game. He went to the press conference, was dressed nice, you know, and he presented himself in such a way that. You know, he was like, I screwed up. I know I made some mistakes. He admitted to it, and he said, I'm going to correct those moving forward, and we're going to keep getting better as an offense. That's what I want to hear from anybody. So, like, for Cam Newton, when he has a terrible game, it's not how it's his body language is like sulking. He's down in the dumps. He doesn't really want to answer questions, but He knows that's part of his job. He has to at least go out there. And he's like, next question. Next question. No, I'm not talking about that.
Yep.
You know, it's like it's a completely different demeanor than what he should have. Listen, be positive about yourself. Have confidence in yourself. You have to hit your mistakes, hit them head on. You know what I mean? And address them and move on from it. That's what people want to see from him. They want to see some maturity in that fashion. And so far, we have yet to see that from Cam.
And maybe some of it, he's got the new hairstyle. Here's to take a look at this, Joe.
Whoa, what the hell?
This is what he's doing now. I mean, if you remember Cam Newton at MVP in 2015, he had the shorter hair like we have in his profile picture here when we're looking at his career stats. If you fade to that quick, see, that's Cam Newton when we know him as an MVP having fun and dabbing all over.
That's
but
the
now,
good
right
Cam.
now, when times are tough, he's got this going on. He's got a Sideshow Bob thing going on. So much like
for any of the know-it-alls out there, I need to address something. Does that like, I don't know, is that a hairstyle? Does that
looks like
actually look
Sideshow
good to
Bob.
you?
I don't know.
I'm confused. Like, to me, it's like he didn't shower for like 5 months.
So
And
well,
his hair's
some
crazy.
people, he thinks it's just what's wrong with Cam. Maybe it's just all these injuries are piling up. He's a different guy. To you, though, and other people that have just seen Cam Newton play and just haven't been a supporter,
No.
this is like everybody's finally seeing Cam Newton for the way we've seen him.
Absolutely.
And so we'll see what happens here moving forward. Those guys, one thing quick before we switch to the fact of the day, I wanted to touch on the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
What about the Cleveland Browns, where everybody's excited about them?
I
Mainly
was.
Browns fans.
I
were
was.
excited about playoffs and touchdowns or Super Bowls. But
I did not say Super Bowl.
Well,
at
no,
all.
I know. That's why I
no,
said
I know.
fans. Yes,
but I know.
yeah.
I know the Browns fans were really hyped up and everything with all
Right.
the additions and the roster, the way it looked on paper, and what's not to be excited about.
Well, you
However,
saw the offense last year. Now you see
you
more
ha-
weapons on top
you
of it.
have to temper your expectations, man. You got to see the evidence on the field and not say, oh, well, paper-wise, we should beat everybody in the game and we're going to go right to the Super Bowl and win it. No. You have to see the evidence on the field, and so far, it's been lackluster for that matter. You know, Baker Mayfield struggling so far. I don't think it's the offense. I think it's actually him. I mean, yes, and I almost wonder if it's because since Odell's been added there, maybe he has too much concentration to try to push the ball to him no matter what. And because of that, he's not just surveying the field and looking to whoever's open. You know what I mean? We've seen struggles by Jarvis Landry the first couple of weeks with him not being as sure-handed as he was the previous year. He had a 72% catch rate last year, and this year it's like somewhere like 50-something%. It's terrible. So that's a little bit concerning. So
last year
you
he
got all
actually
these,
was like third or fourth in drops too, though, even in the NFL though too. So you got to watch out for that too.
I mean,
So
with
he
a
is- in case of the drops,
72%
he-
catch radius, that's pretty darn
Yeah,
good.
no, I hear you.
But going forward now, they got to hash out some things because now they're without David Njoku at tight end. He's gone to IR. He's done for the season. So they lose a little bit in the tight end position. They still have Sean DeValve.
Seth DeValve,
or
yep.
Seth DeValve to be able to throw to. So he's going to kind of take over that starting role. So they don't lose a whole lot there. But this offense has got to get figured out. Baker Mayfield has got to stop putting so much pressure on himself and throwing the ball and just kind of just take what the defense gives you.
Yeah.
Because it looks like he's trying to make too many big plays too soon when they're not there. And defensively, I have no questions about the Browns' defense. The defense looks dynamite.
Yeah.
When they're on the field, they're playing at a very high level. They're getting pressure. They're getting interceptions. They're getting turnovers. They're doing their job. But offensively, Cleveland's got to pick it up.
And some of that is to blame for Freddie Kitchens. He says he takes a lot of it on himself. He's getting
Of course.
criticized and beat up for that 1 4th and 9 call when he goes for a draw play.
Yeah.
And they just gets
Yeah, I mean,
destroyed there.
right.
But I mean, you gotta imagine. I mean, you're trying to pull off plays. People got to execute the plays still either way.
Right.
But some of the plays I think he pulled out were nice. But then again, it seems like at times with that. With him, I've said it last week, which also where it comes down to Sean McVay too does it, and I think a couple others to where they want to utilize their offense so much that they see these plays, they're looking at it like, oh, this is a good one, and they throw it out there and they don't look at the game, what's going on and what the defense is giving you. Like he pulled out this nice, just a little, the halfback screen a little bit here, and because of the pressure that the Rams were pulling on him, it was a very successful play. They never went back to that again, I think, for the rest of the game, And Nick Chubb is a big part of this team.
Absolutely.
No matter what, all the other weapons they have to throw to.
But not enough.
But
in my opinion, I think they need to go to Nick Chubb a little bit more
that's
often.
What I'm saying. They need to go to him often, and if you have to work off that and screw the other guys for a little bit, if that's your game plan, you need to get him more involved in the game.
But that goes hand in hand with the passing attack. If they utilize Nick Chubb, and we've seen how hard of a runner he is, he doesn't go down easy. Yeah. He'll get another 3-4 yards on top of the first hit. So he's a very physical running back who's going to get you yards no matter what. Plus, he can catch out of the backfield, which makes him more dangerous. And by utilizing him a little bit more, it's going to just naturally open up those passing lanes for you to be able to throw. I think you're trying to throw a little bit too much, put a little bit too much on Baker Mayfield's shoulders when you don't have to. You have a running game. Now, granted, their offensive line isn't the best. They do struggle. When you got Greg Robinson as your left tackle, I'm sorry, but he's not the answer there. They are desperately missing Joe Thomas. Maybe they give him a phone call, maybe come out of retirement and play for him because it looks like he's still physically fit and could just go right back in.
Not so much of a big boy. He's just a big boy,
So until they address those needs, they have major needs now at the offensive line. Maybe not internally so much, but definitely on the tackles. Let's see what adjustments they make going forward into Week 4. Maybe they do run the ball a little bit more often and utilize Nick Chubb to help open up the offense. That's the avenue they should take. Let's wait and see what they do.
And for them to keep up with the Rams team, too, who's coming back as the NFC champion, it was nice for them to put it up because the first 2 weeks, they weren't looking so hot. So you got to see the Cleveland Browns go toe-to-toe with a former champion here. So
big test.
We'll see what goes on moving forward. But then in that game, too, as well, if you want to break it down to as fact as Baker Mayfield getting better and seeing better things, there was a play where he ended up seeing the pressure on the outside, ran to the outside to get out of the pocket, and that just gave it a beeline right there for Aaron Donald to go after him instead of doing something like what Mitch Trubisky did last night where the pocket collapsed around the outside. He stepped up, then turned right, and that's where he threw that big dish over to Taylor Gabriel in the corner. So you're able to make a play within the pocket. Don't be afraid and just trying to exit out because you can be setting the defense up for a bigger play against you and not really escaping anything. You're walking right into it.
And talking about Mitch Trubisky in that throw, he seems to play better outside the pocket. So when he's moving, when he's just to create more space away from the defense or more time, when he's on the run, he seems to just throw the ball better.
Yes, I think
which
so too.
is not always the case, but for him, it works for him. Look for the Bears to do the same kind of thing with RPOs and play action going forward for this offense.
All right, Joe, it's time for the In the Know Fact of the Day.
Love this.
Fact of the day. I got an interesting one today. I really dug deep on this one. It has nothing to do with the week that we have going on here, but
nonetheless,
I wanted to, I thought about the footballs here. Wilson has been the exclusive maker of the NFL football since 1941, and it produces 4,000 balls a day. And a single cowhide, which is from cows in the states of Kansas, Iowa, and Nebraska, makes just 10 footballs.
Wow.
Yes. Also, there are 16 face holes on a football, but just one lace that goes through that whole thing. It's not multiple laces. That's just a whole one lace.
Yep.
So interesting here. And
that's
a
crazy.
fact that they call it the pigskin, but it's really cowhide.
It is really cowhide.
So how about that, Joe? It's a big fact there. The footballs and what they're doing.
I just don't get why they just don't call it cowskin.
You have balls.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like balls.
So, yes. And we love football, so that's what happens, with that. So there you go. Some interesting take on the fact on the NFL balls and how they're made and things like that. So let's go to the drop, Joe.
This is the drop.
All right, we're just going to start off this drop here just to clear the air, get this out of the way, and finally be done, hopefully, with talking about AB Antonio Brown. Just so everybody knows, let's bring everyone up to speed. A Nike spokesperson has confirmed Wednesday that the New England Patriots wide receiver Antonio Brown no longer has an endorsement deal with the company. So he's lost Nike, he's lost Zenith, one of the helmet companies, and I want to say Adidas or something. It was another sponsorship. So he's losing sponsorship after sponsorship with all this going on. The NFL is investigating threatening text messages allegedly sent by New England Patriots receiver Antonio Brown to an unnamed female artist after she accused him of sexual misconduct, according to TMZ. More and more negativity follows AB around. And nonetheless, the Patriots, with all this going on, they've decided to release Antonio Brown, kick him right out the door as fast as he got in there. After which, AB went to Twitter, naturally, right? And he said, "Will not be playing in the NFL anymore. These owners can cancel deals, do whatever they want at any time. We will see if the NFLPA will hold them accountable." Said they can just void guarantees anytime, going on 40 minutes and 2 months. We'll see if they pay up. What the hell are you talking about?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
The whole reason why teams can void your guarantees and void your contract or do whatever is because of your actions. It's because it's conduct detrimental to the team or conduct detrimental to the NFL. That's the reason why they can do that. And his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, knew all this. He's a very good agent, has a ton of clients signed with various teams. And Antonio, you really believe that you just didn't know that? Come on.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Okay, now we're done talking about
We're
AB.
done. We're done. We don't have to talk about it anymore. He's going back to school. So.
Yeah, online. And that's the funny thing is, like, he's doing online courses, but come on, let's be honest. Yeah. He's going to pay someone to go to do the online courses for him.
Hey, nerd, do my papers for me.
Chicago Bears D-tackle Bilal Nichols suffered a broken hand. Head coach Matt Nagy announced Thursday. According to Kevin Fishbane of The Athletic, Nichols isn't expected to go on IR, however, and could play with a club. Like we've seen Pat Willis do.
Yeah,
and
we've seen a few JPPs
others.
play with a club.
Josh Rosen has replaced Ryan Fitzpatrick as the Dolphins quarterback going forward. This is something that we kind of seen coming, but didn't know would happen this soon because now Josh Rosen's going to have to face the wrath of every defense every week and get killed.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins have claimed Dallas Cowboys defensive end Taco Charlton after being cut, per Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. So the Dolphins, you know what? As much weapons that they have traded away, now they decide, hey, let's just bring in a defensive end because that's the answer to our problem. Bears' offensive line, Rashad Coward, named Week 2 NFLPA Community MVP after partnering with Athletes for Charity to launch a STEM and literacy program at Lincoln Elementary School in Indiana. So kudos to these players that are giving back to the community, that are doing good around the world.
Absolutely.
Detroit Lions legend wide receiver Calvin Johnson said he smoked marijuana after every game of his NFL career to avoid the rampant abuse of opioids in the league. Calvin Johnson went as far as to say, "When I got to the league, there was opioid abuse," he said. "You really could go into the training room and get what you wanted. I can get Vicodin, I can get Oxycontin. It was too available. I used Percocet and stuff like that, and I did not like the way it made me feel. So I had my preferred choice of medicine, which is none other than cannabis." Didn't weed every day. And you know, there's a lot of studies out there to support the pain killing. It's like a painkiller. It just helps you get over injuries or mentally, like concussions. They're even saying that it helps with
down. Yep.
So who knows? Let's see. Wait into the future if cannabis makes a comeback. The NFL has placed a temporary ban on all flame effects and pyrotechnics used on its playing fields, following an on-field mishap at Nissan Stadium ahead of Week 2's Tennessee Titans Indianapolis Colts game, according to ESPN's Kevin Seifert and Teron Davenport. The San Francisco 49ers announced they have signed tackle Sam Young to a one-year deal, this coming after Joe Staley is now put on the IR and he's no longer going to be there. Pretty much just seen as a depth piece. Don't think he's going to end up starting. Texans cornerback Lonnie Johnson Jr. has paid a funeral for a 14-year-old Curtis Walton Jr., a football player from his hometown of Gary, Indiana. So we're seeing a lot of good things this week, what NFL players are doing and taking upon themselves.
Yeah, that's always good when you hear that in the news. So.
Yeah, definitely. The Green Bay Packers have placed guard Lane Taylor on IR due to injury. Now, this is concerning because this offensive line is starting to get beat up a little bit here. Now, it's got to make you worry as a Packer fan how well they're going to protect Aaron Rodgers going forward. Bills honoring superfan Pancho Villa, a.k.a. Ezra Castro, who passed away this offseason from cancer. In a pregame on-field ceremony, Castro's family was present at a game, presented a game ball from Kim Pagula. Children will have also been presented with a backpack as part of the Poncho Pack program. So the Buffalo Bills have taken it upon themselves for one of the biggest fans in Bills history, one of the best ones that was out there. Unfortunately, he passed away. Condolences to the family and friends of Ezra Castro. But they've taken it upon themselves to do a ceremony at halftime, and it was very nice.
I think you're going to see some of these teams do that more with some of the bigger super fans that are more well-known around the area and stuff.
Right.
A respect back to them as well for supporting the team for so long.
Yeah, Browns defensive end Myles Garrett was fined $42,100 for roughing the passer penalties versus the Jets. Why? My thing is why.
Yeah,
because I watched the game, and Myles Garrett didn't rough the passer. Let's be honest. Come on, guys. Get it together.
Yeah, I don't get it. But,
According to Adam Schefter of ESPN, Giants running back Saquon Barkley could miss anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks after an MRI
yes.
revealed a high ankle sprain, per Schefter. Exactly. That's what Giants fans are saying right now. The longer timeline is considered more likely, however. Schefter noted the Giants have a Week 11 bye, which would give him 8 weeks to recover and come back for the final 6 games. So there's some light at the end of the tunnel for Giants fans. He will be coming back this year. It's going to be a little bit longer than we were hoping for, but nonetheless, he will be back. Indianapolis Colts safety Malik Hooker reportedly suffered a torn meniscus and will miss 4 to 6 weeks with the injury, per Adam Schefter of ESPN. A big loss for that secondary for the Colts, a guy that's kind of really commanded that back end. They are really going to miss Malik this season because they have a chance. They have a chance to win this division. Falcons safety Keanu Neal tore his Achilles tendon, a source told ESPN. Neal will be done for the season. Unfortunately for Atlanta Falcons fans, yet again, Keanu Neal is done for the year. Last year, the same kind of thing happened to them last year. They lost their safety, and they were trying to push for the playoffs and everything, and they just kind of lost that whole middle of that defense. Now, unfortunately, their back-end defender is gone.
That's a big hit for them.
Bills D-tackle Harrison Phillips tore his ACL and is out for the year. So there's you just see all these big-time players for each team getting kind of knocked out for the year, which is going to really hurt them all these teams going forward. And it's funny because it's not like, not to make light of the situation, but it's not like a backup or a third-string guy in special teams gets hurt. It's key guys that rotate in, guys that really produce for the team, and starters as well. So, next man up. Cardinals have cut veteran wide receiver Michael Crabtree per Field Yates. This is it's like a yo-yo going up and down with this guy. The Cardinals kind of worked him out at first and no, we're okay. Then all of a sudden, Andy Isabella got injured. They end up bringing Crabtree in there. Never really got a chance to even get on the field. Andy Isabella comes back, and now Crabtree is now cut yet again. Still looking for work.
Yep, there you go. Just like that.
New
Crack kicks the football.
England, New England Patriots have placed fullback James Devlin on IR due to injury. So one of their fullbacks now, one of their fan favorites, is now done.
Yeah.
49ers to be without cornerback Akello Witherspoon for a month due to a high ankle sprain. So, I mean, as much as we saw in week 2 and week 1 injuries, the injuries are starting to really pile up, and we're just after week 3. Redskins wide receiver Terry McLaurin is the first in NFL history to record 5 receptions and a receiving touchdown in 3 consecutive games to start his career. The ex-Ohio State Buckeye is really starting to make a name for himself when nobody really even gave the guy a chance in the draft. You know, the Redskins took a shot on him because he didn't have any playing time in college, so no one really knew what to expect. He's making a huge splash now in the NFL. Wide receiver Laquan Treadwell signing back with the Vikings after Chad Beebe's injury. Why? Just why? This guy was an ex-first-round pick for the Vikings. They've tried to develop him year after year after year and never could get anything out of him. Just nothing. So why bring him back? Bring someone else. Hey, Crabtree's free. Why don't you just grab him? I don't get it. High school player Jaden Payne saved a mom and her baby from drowning in flooded waters last week. So Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson is bringing the real-life hero to the Texans game as a special guest. Another great story, and this is something that I really look forward to week to see what these players are doing. Almost, it's kind of behind closed doors, but not really, but this doesn't get publicized. Why? Why doesn't ESPN and NFL announce these things? These are very cool stories. And nonetheless, there you have it, everybody, the drop.
There you go. All right. Full of good stories here, the drop.
Yeah, you know, it was nice for a change, right?
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's going to be good. No more AB, stuff like that, and we'll see you moving forward.
I hope we don't have to talk about him ever again.
Yes. There we go. Okay. All right. So that means it's going to be our picks segment now, Joe. All right. We're going to move right on to the picks here, unless some other people out there. Plus, I wanted to bring it up, too. Everybody watching us right now, we are streaming on Facebook, in YouTube, and Periscope. So if you guys have any questions, comments, just throw them up there. We had one earlier, too, from Larry.
Thanks, Larry, for chiming in.
Yeah, so whatever you guys want, any questions, comments, bring them on. We'll answer whatever you want or talk about it. Let's have some fun with that. We are going to get to our weekly picks in a second here. But let's bring up where we're at with our picks competition. Joe and I are doing a picks competition this whole year. Last year we did this, and it was a lot of fun. This year we're going to step it up here and do the same thing. And Joe had to drink. I got it right here. This big, huge football-shaped mug here full of liquor, and it is a lot. Let me tell you, it's like a half gallon.
That was a lot of vodka.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we had fun in that show. It was right after the Super Bowl, and we're doing that again this week. Plus, the other thing we have going on, too, for competitions, we have our show MVP. Last week's show MVP was Mike Tackett, and every time you become a show MVP, we put your name into a competition or a hat here, and at the end of the season, after the end of the year, right after the Super Bowl, we draw a name, and you guys will win a prize at the end of the season. Not sure exactly what it is yet, but it's going to be fun, and so definitely be interactive with the show. Give us some questions, comments, whatever you like. Share the show to other people, other people who like football in your community.
Make sure you subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just, get some friends together. You like football. You like to talk about football. We'll bring them over to Football on the No Show. Go on YouTube, search us Football on the No Show. We pop up. Hit us, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for all our updated content, and let's have some fun.
There you go. So looking at our standings right now, Joe is taking the lead now. We are not at a dead heat. Joe is winning 34-14-1, and I am 33-15-1.
And for those of you that are tuning in late, we were tied, believe it or not, for not only just week 1, but we were also tied for week 2.
Yes. Yeah, we picked different games, too. It's not like we're picking the same exact teams.
It's crazy how it shakes out.
So let's hit them up with hit me up with some music here, Joe. Kick the music up. Let's get ready for our picks here moving forward. All right, here we go. Thursday night's game. The Philadelphia Eagles go into Green Bay to take on the Packers. Philadelphia Eagles, they're struggling hard. Carson Wentz looks like he's dying out there to try and do everything himself.
He's
and
trying.
that's only wearing himself out. That's one thing I worry about this team now. Where you're dealing with these injuries, Carson Wentz is all over the field. Feels like I think he's trying to do it all on his own, making the same kind of plays he did that career season that he had when he ended up getting the injury. But he stretches it out there and stuff, and he lays his body on the line.
He doesn't have a choice.
If he can get a hit, though, you hit bad and stuff like that, you're back to square one again, and you're getting injured. So they need to
At this point, they don't have a
help
choice.
him out. They
I
don't,
mean,
but they need to get that running game going better, I think. You know
it's
what I mean?
a terrible offense
I know,
the
but
way
I'm
they
just
run
saying,
it.
they have to get it going.
It's not going to work.
Change the game plan.
It's just not gonna work.
Alert, you know.
Dude,
and the defense is getting
That's
exposed
where running
now,
backs
so.
go to die. Let's be honest. You know, and as talented as the new rookie Miles Sanders is,
Yeah.
you know, and he's getting the majority of the snaps, but even he can't make this thing work. You know, so I wonder, like, you know, Doug Peterson, maybe you got to alter the way you call runs because it's like too much east and west, not enough north and south, man.
Yeah, and as far as the Green Bay Packers, everybody's concerned about the offense and like, oh, it's not different. We're not used to seeing this.
Don't know
so
what
much,
it
you
is,
know?
right?
Yeah, but I think they're doing fine. You know, it's for once Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to do it all on his own.
Right.
He's got that great defense behind him that he can rely on, and just run a great offense, a clean game.
How
And
about
he
Aaron
said-
Jones?
Yeah, Aaron Jones
Running the ball.
finally, yeah, they're getting the running game going. It's a big surprise, right? Different than Mike McCarthy, and Aaron Rodgers didn't get hit or sacked like all last week. So I mean, he feels good after a game. So what's the complaining? So the Green Bay Packers, it's tough to get a win in there, anyways.
Right.
So I'm gonna pick the Packers here at home against the struggling Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing too is you got to keep an eye on the injury report. And unfortunately, we don't have that luxury because we're picking so early in the week.
Yeah, I know.
We usually pick it on
We
Wednesday
do.
tomorrow, but unfortunately, we're picking now. But yeah, the Eagles are struggling because they have a catastrophic amount of injuries with the receiving core. The secondary isn't up to par, and unfortunately, now they're going into Green Bay, and Green Bay is super hard to play regardless. But their defense, the Green Bay Packers defense, we said before the season started, they were one of those sleeper defenses that are going to surprise a lot of people. And this offense is kind of coming, the new offense they've instilled with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers loving it because why? He's not taking a punishment. He's running the ball more often. It's not always on his shoulders. So I'm also going to go with the Green Bay Packers at home as well.
All right, we have a visitor
Uh-oh.
here, Joe. It's Mike Tackett. It's our show.
All right,
MVP
buddy.
from last week. Mike Tackett is in the house.
Welcome to the
And
show, buddy.
He is explosive with stuff right now. He's sorting it all out there. So
All right, what do we got? Let's go.
I'm going to start off with what he says here first with Happy Wednesday. I mean Tuesday. That's weird. I know, but you know what? We decided to make the switch last minute. I do have my anniversary tomorrow. We weren't going to fit it in, but I mean, it's a special day and everything. So I figured just clear the slate. Get everything done with our show tonight. It's fresh off of Monday Night Football. I'm feeling good. And that way I don't have to worry about that and stress my wife out either. But he says, at this point, who do you guys think is the worst 3-0 team and the best 0-3 team? This is a crazy question. For me, it's Buffalo and Denver. I think the Broncos will turn it around, kind of, while the Bills will get exposed starting this weekend. Well, the thing is, the Bills have been working off of their defense so much. And, Frank Gore, you haven't seen a whole lot. I mean, he's worked it through and been supportive in that game or for that team, but he hasn't been like a workhorse like maybe you thought a little bit. Seeing they got rid of LaShawn McCoy, they're like, all right, now Frank Gore's the guy. He's going to help out Singletary here, so we'll get it. See what that
and
running
that's
game's
because
gonna
of the
look like.
emergence of Devin Singletary, the rookie who's kind of stepped onto the scene and done very well. He got a little bit banged up, and now you're starting to see a little bit more of Frank Gore than we did early on in the season. But they also have TJ Yeldon. They got guys in the backfield that they can utilize, and they're going to be just fine. However, and you like you were saying too, is the defense is very strong, and that gives them a chance in every single week that they play. Is their defense is so good that it makes up for any kind of faults that the offense might have. One of their strengths now is the fact that they have weapons. Josh Allen has weapons to throw to now. He doesn't have just Zay Jones and nobody else. Now he's got actually has weapons. He has a running game. They still need to work on this offensive line going forward in the next offseason, big time, to make this team really kind of take a major step forward. But I think Buffalo Bills are one of the more underrated teams that are 3-0 right now. That I will agree with. But Denver Broncos, I know they're 0-3, and I know they have those pass rushers and Bradley Chubb and Von Miller, and you just kind of think, with the veteran leadership that Joe Flacco has, and they're going to be able to come back. But I see a team that's struggling so badly. And it could be because of leadership with Vic Fangio. I know he's a great defensive mind, but maybe he's just not cut out to be a head coach. And we've seen that before. But nonetheless, they are great at pass rushing, not so good on offense. Emmanuel Sanders will tell you that much as well.
And it's tough. Looking at the 0-3 teams, that's tough to try to find out who is the best 0-3. I'd say even, surprisingly enough, Washington, I think, has been in every single game and just happens to be on the wrong side of the coin at this point.
And they're in a really tough division, too.
Yeah, I mean, but they played some tough opponents here, and they're at 0-3, where they potentially could have been 3-0 at any point. You saw them get back in that game after 6 turnovers or something. It seemed like Case Keenum was turning over every second. They were down a lot, and I'm watching this game. I was looking at the Bears, and I'm like, is this seriously going to be the New England Patriots? Atlanta Falcons, because the score was 28-3 at halftime.
Right.
The same exact thing, and I started to watch this game unfold, and I'm like, are you kidding me? They're breaking down a little bit, but they held in there and got an extra even field goal to help solidify that win. But, I mean, it was getting hairy looking there for that at one point. So I'd say maybe my 0-3 worst team, or best 0-3 team, maybe the Washington Redskins kind of surprised me a little bit.
Right.
Denver, again, I'm still not sure with that. I don't know if they know what to do with Joe Flacco, with Vic Fangio. Again, it seems like there's a disconnect between their head coach and the players. I don't know if they're all on the same page, if they're really buying into what he's doing and his philosophy or not. I just think there's a little bit of a disconnect there. As far as the worst 3-0 team, I would have to say maybe even for me, it's the Rams. The Rams, for me, kind of seem at times like they're not playing up to what I think their potential could be. They're kind of sluggishly getting through some of these games, and some of these games are getting a little too close to what they should be. Like watching that Cleveland game, I don't know if it really was Cleveland was that much better playing, but I think it was more like the game management of the Rams again. Again, in that game too as well, the management of their timeouts. You can't just burn them whenever you feel like, or if you have to, and then we need them at the end of the game. You don't have them there. That's what he's done his whole career as a coach, and I don't like the way he does that. You know what I'm saying? And some of the management, some of the things he was doing, passing when they should have ran, to burn out some of the clock when you have a lead. I think there's a lot of questions still there with the Rams.
I don't have any questions about the Rams. They're 3-0, and they look pretty tough to me. I mean, here's the one thing that I'll say. Is unlike last year, they didn't have starting corners.
Yeah,
both those guys were done and out. But with them back, they are so much harder in the red zone to score on. It's almost impossible. I still see them as a major threat. One team that's 3-0 to me that I'm a little worried about, and I know they're 3-0, but the 49ers. The 49ers, they still, now that they're without Joe Staley, they don't have a complete offensive line. That's your anchor at the left tackle spot. Jimmy Garoppolo, we've seen him struggle in preseason. No big deal. Now it's for real. He's playing well, but not as good as I think he could be playing. Now, I don't know if that is scheme. I don't know if it's anything to do with him mentally, but the one thing I do like about this 49ers team, and I've always liked, is their defensive side of the ball. Their defensive line is absolutely insane. I mean, they got all first-round picks, high first-round picks on that D-line that are all playing very well and at a high level. That team is kind of, now you're starting to see some injury. The injury bug kind of hit them a little bit. They're going to be without one of their starting corners. They're without their left tackle. This team, I'm not sure how long they're going to be able to hold on to this. We've seen them struggle, especially Richard Sherman, getting beat in the secondary as well. I think you can pass on this team. I don't think you can run very well on this team. And offensively, if you're playing defense, I mean, you really got to take care of the ball. It's a lot of short passes that really fit into Jimmy G's repertoire. I think eventually teams are going to figure these Niners out, and then they're going to start getting more losses.
Yeah, I could go with you there, too, as well, on the worst 3-0 team. He says if CTE had legs, Antonio Brown would be it. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, that guy's definitely different. And also, one of his other comments here, Mike Tackett says, also of note, the Vikings have brought back Laquan Treadmill as wide receiver. Chad Beebe will be on inactive for some time. Yes, I know. Is that funny? We were talking about that and laughing too. That they cut him and then they're like, "No, you can come back now."
Just don't understand the move. Like, there's other receivers out there that you could bring in. He's a failed experiment.
Yeah, I know. All right, so who knows? But there you go. Some great insight here by Mike Tackett. He's always a pleasure having on here on the show.
Thanks, Mike, for joining the show. Thank you
happy
very much.
Tuesday as well to you. All right, so moving
isn't that
forward
weird
here,
to say?
Yeah, I know, right? It's different. I feel it's refreshed though too. It's coming off a nice Monday.
I'm really, and then what's really throwing me off is tomorrow's not Thursday.
No,
I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and for what? It's Wednesday.
Now we got another day to celebrate here until Thursday. All right, so Tennessee at Atlanta. Atlanta again. We've seen the offense struggle. There's been questions about, like I said, that again, Dirk Cutter has never had a running game above 21st in the NFL. He hasn't, and people are looking to see Devonta Freeman to play well because he's going to single back now. Yep. This is your show, and what do we see? They're struggling at times. They can get them involved a little bit in the passing game, but the running game is struggling. Atlanta's struggling here. Matt Ryan's got to force it to Julio Jones again, even though he's got some excellent weapons out there. But now Keanu Neal's down on the defense. Oh, these guys gonna get banged up all season again because I'd hate to see it with Atlanta.
Right.
But I think the Tennessee Titans, it's a nice team to bounce back at home. Tennessee, again, their identity scares me, but if I'm going to match up these two guys, Tennessee can pressure Matt Ryan, but I think he can make the throws here. Tennessee's going to run better than Atlanta Falcons, but I like Matty Ice better in the pocket than Marcus Mariota, so I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons here.
Yeah, and this game is going to be interesting because it's going to be a battle of the inept offenses. We've seen Marcus Mariota struggle mightily last week, and now you see Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan's kind of, with this new offense, I don't think he's fully comfortable, and I think it's showing on the football field. That's why he's going back to reverting to just concentrating on Julio Jones for the most part. However, I mean, we had Austin Hooper ranked. We did projected rankings for tight ends, and we have Austin Hooper up there by the end of the season in the top 10 somewhere. Austin Hooper's looking really good right now. He's being heavily utilized in this offense like he should be. And with all these other weapons that they have at their disposal, you should be spreading the ball around. Now, talking about Devonta Freeman and his struggles running the ball, a lot of that is going towards the offensive line because not only do you have one, but you also have two rookie offensive linemen on the right side. Lindstrom, who's hurt right now, is not playing. That hurts him big time at the right guard position. And you have Caleb McGarry, who's still trying to come into his own. These guys need experience to get better, and it might take longer than what Atlanta fans are hoping for them to adjust. And you, just like you mentioned before, the Falcons defense takes a hit with Keanu Neal missing. That's going to hurt. I think it's not going to hurt as much as it did last year. Last year, there was 3 juggernaut defensive players that all went. Deion Jones, you had Grady Jarrett, and you had Keanu Neal right up the middle. They're Pro Bowl players all gone. I still think they can hold the ship down. I think Tennessee Titans going up against Atlanta, I think Atlanta is going to explode all over the Tennessee Titans with points, and they're going to just rack up the points so high that Tennessee's going to have a hard time coming back. I'm going with Atlanta.
All right, he's going with Atlanta too as well. And the New England Patriots in Buffalo now. The Buffalo Bills. If you want to talk about now
this is the test.
Buffalo Bills, this is where Mike Tackett said where they could get exposed. They will get exposed. This is the week that they're going to get exposed because that is what Bill Belichick does. That's what the Patriots do. They don't have Devlin, so that's a big hit for the Patriots, but I don't know if they can handle it without him, you know what I'm saying? The Patriots going there into Buffalo. We're going to see what this defense does now, because this is the offense that has been breaking people down. They have like something ridiculous, like 56, scored, points into 0 to everybody else or something like that in the first half. So Buffalo, we're going to see what this defense can do. Can they stifle the New England offense? And now the test on the opposite side now with the offense.
Yeah.
Is Josh Allen now going to be able to react to this tough New England defense? Because not enough people talk about the New England defense and what they can do. And they're looking pretty tough there. So Josh Allen, I'd like to see him spread it out and get it to all of his wide receivers. He's got great talent, most talent that he's ever had. Good balance. I want to see a lot of Devin Singletary open this game up. That's what I think is if
he's playing.
If he can. And then so I want to see Buffalo spread it out a little bit here on New England. And but I don't think they have enough to beat the Patriots here, even though they're at home. I think they're going to be tough against them, but I'm still going to go with the Patriots.
Yeah, and it's very tough to go against Patriots at this point because their defense is playing on all cylinders. I mean, they're balling out week to week. Their offense is almost unstoppable. Just when you think you have Brady, and here's the thing. This is the one defense with the Buffalo Bills. This is the one defense that could hinder this Patriots offense because if they lock down and they play man-to-man, which they can do, they have their secondary is almost as good as just anybody's. Micah Hyde in the back end. You have Tre'Davious White at corner. I mean, they got a lot of nice pieces on this Buffalo's D. They could line up man-to-man, jam them right up in their grill, and try to throw everybody off their timing. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing is that battle between the Bills defense and the Patriots offense. And on the other side of it, you have Josh Allen trying to distribute the ball to all these different weapons. And what I've noticed over the past few weeks here is that they are getting rid of the ball fast. Josh Allen is getting the ball out of his hand unless they're taking shots down the field, but they're getting it out of their hands. It's 5 yards. It's 10 yards. It's moving the ball down slowly, and they're doing an adequate job. This is going to be the true test for Buffalo Bills. Can they get it done? And if they're going to get it done, it better be at home. That being said, I'm very high on the Bills. However, you just can't pick against the Patriots just yet. I got to see more evidence with this Bills team. I'm going with the Patriots.
All right, Kansas City and Detroit. Detroit's played hard. I've underestimated them at times here. And now Kansas City's rolling high again. Patrick Mahomes are saying if he's on the same path that he's doing now, he's going to break 53 touchdowns this season, and just to build on to his Hall of Fame Golden Jacket, career. So we'll see what happens moving forward with this team. But I think Detroit, their luck runs out a little bit with this Kansas City offense. What they've got going forward here, they will be able to put up points against this defense again because the defense isn't as good as their offense is. But I'm going to take Kansas City here, even though they're playing in Detroit.
Yeah, Kansas City Chiefs, they have one of the highest flying offenses right now. They're super hard to stop. They have so many weapons. And, I mean, they're scoring at a ridiculous rate for points every single week. And that's really what's propelling them to win. It's not so much their defense is ironclad. They got a great defensive line, but beyond that, it's not super stout. I mean, they do have Tyrann Mathieu in the back end, but really that's the only thing that scares me beside Kyle Fuller. The Chiefs going against the Detroit Lions. The Lions, I think, will be able to score points, but I think Kansas City's rate of scoring is going to be so much that they're going to fall too far behind. I'm going with Kansas City.
And the Oakland Raiders, who are going under a little bit of scrutiny since week one, go into Indianapolis now and take on the Colts, where the Colts are playing high off of Jacoby Brissett.
Big win.
They're getting it going. A big win home last week. Now the Raiders trying to muster things up, get it together, but they do have injuries in the defense. So I'm going to stay with my team here, the Indianapolis Colts. They're playing at home. They've got just a better overall personnel, in my opinion. I think Oakland will still be able to run against this team well, and Josh Jacobs get it done. But I like the Indianapolis Colts here to pull out the win here at home.
Yeah, and this is the thing, too, is the Raiders are going to be traveling for the next 6 games. Yep. And this is pretty it's pretty unprecedented. Yeah. I've never seen a schedule like this.
The Patriots never
where one team has to travel not just so much, more than anybody, but they're traveling away for 7 straight games since last week. That's incredible. I think with all that travel, I think it's going to hinder them, energy-wise. And I don't know if they're going to be able to keep that energy up enough to go against a tough Colts team right now. One of the best offensive lines. This offense is really running very well under Jacoby Brissett. Their defense is underrated. I have to wait and see if Darius Leonard is going to be able to be on play this week. But if he does, the Raiders are going to have a really hard time, I think, moving the ball. Not to say that they're going to stop them completely. I think this will be a closer game than people see. But I do give the edge to the Colts because they're home.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny about the traveling? You know, how come you see what do you want to shop something to somebody? Don't you usually give them your best product? You know, like, here, check this out. Look at this. It's amazing. Why don't the Patriots go to England? Why don't the Patriots go to Canada? Why don't they go?
Because they're the golden children.
I don't get it.
You know,
Especially,
they don't have to do anything they don't want to.
Stay home. They stay home. That's what they do in Foxborough. I just don't get it.
It seems
Why
like
not?
every week they're
Right?
home.
Like, they never do. I don't get it. You'd
They don't
you were
travel
sending
very much.
Jacksonville over there, you know what I mean? And things like that to play their games.
Right.
You know, it's like, I don't get it.
Shad Khan loved it. When
Yeah.
he was over there, he almost thought about buying the Wembley Stadium.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, so you agree with me here, too, as well here. So now that we got the Los Angeles Chargers against the struggling Miami Dolphins, who I think played better last week, even despite not having a lot, of weapons anymore and even overall players.
Right.
The Dallas Cowboys, I thought that was interesting. I was watching that game closely. I'm like, man, it's 10-6 for a long time. I'm like, these guys got to get going here, because this isn't looking very good. The Dallas Cowboys that are going to make it to the Super Bowl, playing, a inferior Miami Dolphins team and only put up 10 points here in the first half. But eventually the plug loosened up a little bit and the water started flowing, and then they started scoring here a little bit more. But now we've got the Miami Dolphins against the Chargers. I think this is a nice bounce-back big game for the Chargers because they've had it rough the last couple of weeks here.
They did.
They've been in every game, but just can't get it going.
Right.
They've got the injuries, which stinks for them because that's the Chargers for you, injury bugs. But this perfect team, like I said, to bounce back, get your momentum going. I like the Los Angeles Chargers in this one.
It's almost almost like a nice layup right here. The Dolphins are kind of the rag doll of the league at this point. Everybody expects them to lose almost every single game, if not every single game. And because they're so beat up and just keep taking advantage of week to week, the Chargers are no slouches. We've seen them hang right in with the Texans last week, almost pulled off a win. I think that must show you enough. Now they're going against the weak Dolphins. I fully expect the Chargers to kind of blow out the Dolphins at this point.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right. Moving forward to the Washington Redskins against the New York Giants. Now, this is, I think, it's an interesting game. It could be a trap game here.
It could be.
This is the way it is, because I watched the Redskins last night even come back against tough Chicago Bears team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, even despite all the turnovers and things like that, they still were able to get it going, And the Bears, I gave it against them, though, too, because they did play soft zone at times, and that gave it right back into them and let them get back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
But now the Giants, we've seen that defense be absolutely horrible. You know what I mean? So you know that the Washington Redskins are going to score.
They're going to take advantage of that.
Terry McLaurin, he's going to have a career day. I told anybody in fantasy as Terry McLaurin, start him against the New York Giants. It's going to be delightful for you. No Saquon Barkley. And Daniel Jones' second start here. He's got to get the ball moving here to Sterling Shepard, and Evan Ingram's going to be a big factor here too. So what the Washington Redskins do, they got to bring in and cover those guys, and then let Daniel Jones trying to get it to anybody else. So a lot of pressure there. They got to simulate a running game a little bit here against Washington. It's going to be tough. So I'm going to have you pick this one first here. What do you think?
No, you got to
Redskins
pick the
or
game before me.
I went with the Giants last week, and I won this one, but I don't know. This is a tough divisional game. Washington sneaky. They're due for a win. So going into Giants, the Giants are not exactly favorites at home. So, I mean, if you're looking at it, I might go Redskins on this one.
And here's what I'm going to say is that I do agree with you. I think the Giants, they have a weak secondary, or it's just because of the play calling on the defensive side that may be alluding to how weak their secondary is. Maybe it's the defensive coordinator's fault. I don't know. But at the very least, you need to play your young, talented players. If this is a trial type of season, put them out there and let's see what they got. Maybe they have something better than you thought they would, and give them an opportunity. The Giants' offense looks like a completely different offense, and it looks like they're just putting together something special here with Daniel Jones taking over. Redskins, very stout defense. Look at Landon Collins is returning to New York right now. you don't think he's licking his chops on this game. He probably circled it before the season started. He's looking to get some revenge. This tough Redskins defense is going to come in here and give everything Daniel Jones can handle. And offensively, the Redskins have an underrated type of appreciation with offense with Case Keenum. Now, it's up to the Redskins' offensive line to help protect them this week. Last week, it looked very porous against the Bears. They were all over Case Keenum. This week, I think it'll be a little bit different, and I think the Redskins will, in the end, go into New York and win.
I'm going to agree with you there. We have John Turner's in the house, Joe. Holy
going on,
moly,
John?
I just noticed he's lighting up the
Welcome
comment
to the
section.
show.
John Turner's in the house. He's got a lot to say. First of all, he wants to talk about Frank Reich is a very smart coach, very
Absolutely.
underappreciated.
Yes, definitely.
It's funny because they wanted Josh McDaniels there. He goes turncoat on him right after the Super Bowl on him and doesn't go there. And Frank Reich getting it done, making
All
it
works
work
out in the end.
despite what he has there. John Gruden, he says, wants out in or not Gruden,
No,
sorry.
Jay
Gruden. Jay Gruden wants out of D.C. He's tanking to get fired and then join his brother as OC. I don't think that's happening there. It's just, you can see the look on his face. That wasn't here. Let's get ready to tank. It's the ineptitude of my quarterback. Oh, my gosh. Like, what do I even do? You know what I mean? Like, seriously, Case Keenum, I've seen him play well at times. Like, what happened to that guy, that virtual reality guy in the Minnesota Vikings? Like, I'm learning from VR, and I'm getting that much better. To where I'm going to hold the ball like this when Khalil Mack comes by me, and he's going to slap it out of my hand, to where it's 4th and 1 in inches. And you go and you reach the ball over top the pile like you're going over the goal line? What the hell are you thinking? You dive in the pile underneath, like, get in there. You don't hold it out. Here you go. Take this. And they swat it out of his hands. Like, what an idiot. I mean, are all those reoccurring concussions that he had from his earlier days, are now they coming back to him, and now he's got the CTE problems? I don't know what's going on. You know, I just don't get it. But then he took what they gave him and got it going. But I'm going to go with the Washington Redskins there. I don't think they're exactly tanking because, again, you see the dialogue that goes on with everybody. Once they start to go south, it is week 4 now. They're looking at Dwayne Haskins. Is it Dwayne Haskins time? Everybody tells you he's not ready. Well, some people say bullcrap. It doesn't matter. You got to see what you have. Your team's not going anywhere. So will we see Dwayne Haskins? You know, it's only Tuesday now. Will we hear them pull the trigger right before, this weekend and pull him out there? I don't know. Again,
here's the thing.
I say
this is what I think what's going to happen with Dwayne Haskins. I think they're waiting to see when Trent Williams will be back. If Trent Williams comes back, I think then they'd be more apt to pull the trigger and put Haskins in with the comfortability of saying, hey, now our offensive line can better protect now that we have Trent back in there. I think that's what they're kind of waiting for. But nonetheless, I mean, Case Keenum, he's doing an admirable job against, no protection on the left side. So, I mean, when they do face those tougher defenses like the Bears, he's in for a ride. But I think they do a decent job when they're facing those weaker opponents. It's just a matter of when Trent Williams will be there.
Oh, man, John Turner throwing it out there. He says Giants will win in a blowout. Ooh, he's calling it right there.
Could happen.
Make sure, I remember that. I track everybody who says, what they're going to do. The Poke fella, he said that the 49ers are going to outwin that one game, and then they pulled that off there, too.
It's true.
He's just lighting it up here. Giants by double digits. Well, we'll see what happens here. Haskins will play, he says, Keenum one and done. Yeah, probably. Gruden done, yeah. And what's funny with Gruden is I thought this was an interesting question because you say, he's done after this season. Mm-hmm. I say maybe he should be, too, in a sense, just because of overall of how his body of work.
Absolutely.
But is it going to be he's saved because of injuries or things in there, things that have happened? Has it had the personnel?
You usually see head coaches and the coaching staff, they kind of gravitate, like, if they expect they are on the hot seat, and the team does need a quarterback, they usually go ahead and they draft that quarterback to try to help save their career and give them a little bit, like a year or two extra life. However, at this point for Jay Gruden, he's had so many opportunities to make this offense better, to make this team better. Mm-hmm. The defense is up to par. It's just the offense is struggling, and that's supposed to be Jay Gruden's specialty.
Right.
It hasn't gotten any better. You had Kirk Cousins as a quarterback who was a good quarterback. You just didn't surround him with talent.
He was a top 5 rated quarterback last year.
And now you're sitting here saying, oh, man, I got to make something happen here. But you only you have limited talent. You have Terry McLaurin out of nowhere who's playing off big dividends for you. But nonetheless, you got nothing else to show for it. The defense is what's keeping you in games. And unfortunately, Jay, I think it's going to be the end of you. No matter what happens, even if you put Dwayne Haskins, say Trent Williams comes back, you put Dwayne Haskins in there, and all of a sudden you start to win a few games. It's not going to be enough by the end.
Oh, I just saw us here, Joe. Jeremiah Spicer's in the house. I don't know if he's still with us here because I see it. Wow, Spicer's in the house. What about the XFL draft? It's coming up. It's in October, right? Yeah, I mean, that's exciting. I'm interested to see, have they released any more players that are going to be on that? I know they were saying about
there's a ton.
Landry Jones.
There's a ton of players that are all available for the draft and everything. And here's the other interesting thing is that there's 8 teams here, and I don't know which one to pick. You know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to wait to see where Spicer gets drafted, and that's going to be my team.
There you go. I think
that's
so
what
too.
I'm going to do.
That's what I like too. I definitely do. I'm going to do the same thing. Pleasure to be on here. Have you on here, Jeremiah, definitely. And pleasure having you on our show when we talk to you. And maybe going forward during the XFL season, we can have you on again and talk about your team and what's going on there. I love the message you're spreading. So anybody is out there too, if you haven't followed Jeremiah Spicer on Twitter and on Facebook, things like that, go ahead, give him that click and follow him. He's got a great backstory, and
he's a great dude, and we're really rooting for him.
And we're rooting for him here in the XFL. He's got big things coming. It's only just the beginning for him. And so, yeah, I think that's what I might do, too. I like a lot of the logos that they got going on, too.
I like all of them, actually.
So it's tough. I might just like
maybe
the
not
season
so much
altogether
the
and check it
Roughnecks.
out and see how it goes. But yeah, definitely looking forward to check those out. All right, what else do we got here? I gotta go down. Swervo Gaming's in the house too. Holy moly!
All right,
Swervo's back.
The return of Swervo.
He is back. What's up, guys? Sorry, I've been MIA. I've been busy, but my fantasy team is 3-0.
Nice.
And to let you guys know, I'm coming out strong. Yes,
I like
there you
it.
go. I'm glad to hear it. You had a stacked team.
Yeah.
You looked at that team, and when we were talking about moves to make,
Ridiculous.
I mean, it was ridiculous. Like, well, you could do this, or you could do that, and that would make it even better. But yeah, holy moly, Swervo Gaming getting it done. And how did your buddies' draft go when they were drafting night during our show? You were doing a live draft with them. So how did that pan out for them? I want to know what's up with that too. Gruden front office are done with each other. Yeah, perhaps we'll see what happens moving forward. I mean, Dan Snyder, he hasn't been the best owner, for the NFL too, as well, moving forward too. So, I mean, but who else do you see now? Let's say, hypothetical, let's say that Jay Gruden's out. He goes and works with his brother. Who do you put in that situation? Who is going to be the next head coach for the Washington Redskins? Anybody out there? Will you see maybe Byron Leftwich finally get his open shot here? But,
that's a good one.
like I say, maybe Bruce Arians going to keep around to groom to take over for Tampa Bay.
Oh, you can't hold a guy back.
I don't know.
You just can't hold a guy back.
Well, they did it with Josh McDaniels, but maybe he did it because he was afraid.
Oh, that's come on. Let's be honest about that one.
There you go.
He's promised the keys to the city when Bill Belichick
defense.
leaves.
Here we go. Man, John Turner is lighting up the board. Oh, I have to just catch up with everything here. Haskins will not play a game under this staff. Trent is never coming back, ever. And, so far it doesn't seem like that. I don't think there's any communication. They said to inform that in order for it to be a full season for him, he needs to play at least 6 games. And so we'll see what happens moving forward. But he is absolutely just not happy.
He's very adamant of the idea of just never playing for the Redskins again. He said so himself. So as much as the Redskins front office believes he will come back, I'm going to side with the player on this one.
And he'll, along with this cornerback, will expose the front office. Here we go. The coaching search for DC will be the stupidest gong show of all time post Gruden. Yeah, who knows? Because that's what it's going to be like. Watching Dan Snyder work his team and look for coaches is a lot the way I think the New York Knicks is. You know what I mean? You get to see that epic kind of show that goes on with it and what's going to be the next move. And is it going to be the downfall again? And is the team's just never going to win ever again and things? And so who knows moving forward what happens with that team. But as far as the Giants here, I'm liking the way they play, but without Saquon, I'm not a big Wayne Gallman fan. Never have been.
No, you're not? I thought you were really high on him.
No,
I thought
I've
you liked him
sometimes. Yeah, but the defense again is like a sieve, and now that they've even showed that Jackrabbit can't be Jackrabbit anymore. I think we just need to say, maybe this is the time that the Washington Redskins can finally pull off a win. It's like, y'all need to take my call. Do you want to take a call from John Turner? I don't know. I always want to move forward with our picks to get it moving here. I'm sorry, John, but I like the comments going on here, but to stop and take calls, I think it's just throws me off of my momentum. No offense to you or anything like that, right? You're fine with that, right, Joe? I don't.
Hey, you're the guy running the show.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get through the picks here. All right, but that was great conversation here too about the Washington Redskins, though. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that's going to be a thing, and they're going to start searching for a head coach in the process here. All right, now let's go to the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore hung tough with the Kansas City Chiefs. And now he kind of surprised me there with Lamar Jackson. I mean, I thought he was a pretty gifted athlete. And the Chiefs were really dominating the game at times. And when the Baltimore Ravens had showed that they were trying to make it come back here, and they almost had it, dude. They were just just a string, could not pull it in. But again, that shows me that sometimes Andy Reid, they want to say they put the foot on the gas, always play with the foot on the gas here with the offense.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Cracking
We'll
up. John just
yes,
just
he's still going.
Nobody useful will
don't-
take that job.
No, I mean, trying to think, through the back of my head as it's going, like who might get fired that they're going to put over there.
I'm sorry, but going back to when the Raiders were just like, well, they still losing, but in the middle of that 12-year drought of no talent, very little, nobody wanted to take that job. The only guys that are willing to take a job where it's kind of desolate and the roster's lackluster and there's a lot that you got to build upon is usually college coaches that are trying to get a fresh start or retread coaches that aren't going to get another shot, something like that. Mm-hmm. But I think the Redskins have a little bit more talent than what the Raiders did back then. So I think there's something to build upon. Now you also have a young quarterback that's unproven so far. There's a little bit to like about that team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, now going back to the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. Again, this is going to be an uphill climb, I think, for the Cleveland Browns, the way they've been performing.
Yeah.
And now the team gets to play each other that is actually the Cleveland Browns, who Cleveland's playing themselves. So I'm liking the Baltimore Ravens at home. I just think they're all together a better complete team that have been able to score, and I think this defense is going to give Baker Mayfield a bit of a problem. So I like the Baltimore Ravens at home.
Yeah, and this is not only a tough Ravens defense, but the offense is kind of unpredictable a little bit. Lamar Jackson, he utilizes his legs when he needs to. He's, and this is the difficult thing, is trying to defend him, with his rushing ability, as well as he's throwing it to guys that are wide open because of that running ability. It's a little bit difficult. The Browns defense, this game, I think, is going to be interesting to watch because we're going to really find out if the Cleveland Browns can bounce back from a tough game that they just had and kind of gotten shown up in the national spotlight. Now, can they bounce back against a divisional opponent like the Baltimore Ravens? I think it's going to be really tough because not only do they have to play the Ravens, but they also got to play them in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Baltimore's tough to play in. They're still trying to figure out offensively what the issues are. Baker Mayfield's not being able to move on from last year and try to keep creating building blocks going forward. I'm also picking the Ravens too. I don't know what else to do here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, and Swervo Gaming in here. He said he is also 2-1. I think he or 3-0. I don't know. I didn't check with him this week. I don't know. He's down by 8, and his kicker was last I checked was doing very well, and he could have won. All right, and he says Swervo Gaming also says, and with Antonio Brown saying he's not playing in the NFL, what about other football leagues? What do you guys think is next for him?
No.
Yeah,
he's not gonna
it the way it goes.
Yeah, he's not gonna go down to like that. He's not going any other football league at this point. I don't see it at all because he's such a big limelight type of guy. Why would he go from the NFL to a startup like who knows, XFL or the Arena Football League or something like that? I don't see anything like that. He's too big for his own britches. So now he's announced that he's going to go back and re-enroll in Central Michigan. He's going to take online classes, whatever. Just I'm done talking about AB. He's non-existent as far as I'm concerned, and his career I think is done.
Yeah, I say the only thing if he does come back, it might be for if there's a big money payday. If the XFL says, listen, man, we want you on this. You're a big, strokes his ego. You're the biggest star we have.
Right.
You're going to be the face of the XFL. You're going to have limelight here,
yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And here's
But the money-
whatever money, you can't.
The money's not going to match
No,
up.
no, oh, definitely not to the
Let's
NFL.
be
I know
honest.
that much there.
That's what he's all
I
about.
hear you there.
He
but
wants
I mean,
guaranteed, too.
We've seen Vince McMahon turn some of these guys into stars in sets. I mean, dude, you know what Jose Canseco is wrestling in his first match coming up or something like that? He's going to be a professional wrestler now. So we've seen former players turn into wrestlers somehow and things. So I wouldn't be surprised if Vince McMahon tries to kick something to Antonio Brown. But again, if he doesn't care, if it's not going to be worth his time, he could care less.
And here's the thing.
In his eyes, he is not wrong.
I think the only way he comes back into the NFL is if teams realize what the punishment's going to be. After the NFL's concluded their investigation, after the legal proceedings have all said and done, a suspension may come, whatever have you. I think a team will then I think a bunch of teams that are in need of receiver help are going to be knocking on his door, hoping they could bring him in.
And Swervo Gaming says here from YouTube, he says Lamar Jackson is amazing. He stays in the pocket now and throws, and just overall a better quarterback this year. Yeah, see what happens. You work on.
Yeah, it's not bad when your guys are wide open.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't really take that hard to throw the
works
ball.
too. It does. Joe is.
I'm just not buying in
supportive
onto
of
Lamar Jackson just yet.
Oh,
Hey,
I just hit my thing.
You just shrunk.
Did you see that? I just hit that, and I don't know how to hit that. Look, I just did it again. I don't know what I'm doing. I just shrunk, though. There you go. Bloopers right on the thing. Now I'm tiny, Joe. I don't know. I hit my ankle against it. Now I jacked myself down. That's like I got a barber chair. I don't know what I just did.
You all right?
Maybe I can fix it in a little bit, but I don't know.
Easy.
Joe, why don't you take it away here with Houston and Carolina, and I'll try to adjust my chair and get my height back up. See, I don't know. I see it pushes down further. Can I jack myself up?
Well, Houston and Carolina, that game, let's just
There
say,
you go.
okay, now this is where we were talking earlier about Kyle in a test for the following week.
Yes.
The Texans is going to be a true test to see how well he can, run this offense against a tough opponent. The Texans are going to be coming after him. They're going to be rushing him. They are going to be doing their best to stop Christian McCaffrey, at least slow him down. And offensively, the Houston Texans are going to be tough to contend with. The Carolina Panthers, they got a lot of weapons to throw to. They also have, I just slipped my mind, the running back there.
Who, Christian McCaffrey through the Carolina
No,
Panthers?
for the Carolina,
Carlos Hyde?
Carlos Hyde, yeah, for the Texans. He's playing very well for the Texans. He's able to move the ball, keep it going and turning, and Deshaun Watson with his mobility makes it hard to defend this whole offense. So I think Houston Texans are going to be a little too much for Carolina, and I look for the Texans to go ahead and take the W there.
There you go. Now Carolina, like Joe's kind of I think alluding to it just in a sense. Yes, the Kyle Allen story is pretty cool for them to go through and actually pull out a win when Cam is not there. That's the job of the backup quarterback here.
Right.
But when you're moving up against the Houston Texans, who have been playing pretty well here, have a good defense, and a more explosive offense than what we've seen from this Cliff Kingsbury offense in Arizona, and they're playing at home. Yeah, I don't like the odds for Carolina here. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans as well. Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Los Angeles Rams. Like I said, they kind of slump through sometimes, I think, at times for the Los Angeles Rams. But as far as Tampa Bay, when you have an epic fail in that game, when you have the chance to stomp on the throats of the Giants and you don't do it, and you let them get back into this game, plus having a kicking issue. Like, I don't think the kicker
I'm
was
waiting for the kicker to be fired, though.
Yeah, a lot of people are, I bet. But I don't think, again, it's the kicker didn't give up all those extra points coming back. He missed
No, but he
two
could've won the
extra
game.
points.
Could've
and he
won
could've
the game.
He could have. And like I said, you fumble, you don't hit your other two extra points. I mean, you get paid to kick, and you can't kick it. I understand that. But overall, I think just the team needed to play better. I think going to LA at home, I like the Los Angeles Rams against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they're trying to find their identity. And now I think we're going to see the murmurings of Jameis Winston. What are we going to see? He's got to maybe move on, or he's trying out for another team possibly.
Yeah, as much as Bruce Arians is giving complete confidence in Jameis Winston and his ability to be the quarterback for the Buccaneers, I don't see it. I mean, I'm still yet to see it. Yeah, he threw it to Mike Evans a bunch of times last week, and, they got Mike Evans going, but spread the ball around.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing that. You're not becoming the quarterback that Tampa Bay needs you to become. And it is a little harder when you don't have a running game as well. Defensively, they're a little banged up. Devin White was not able to play last week, and don't know if he's going to be able to play this week. But the LA Rams, they are not only home, but their defense is very, very stout. They are going to put pressure on Jameis Winston. Might even be able to force him to make a few fumbles, which was his problem last year. And also offensively, who are they going to cover? Who they got to pick? Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp, Gerald Everett, Tyler Higbee. You got Todd Gurley. You also got, there's a lot of weapons on this Rams team, along with that stout offensive line. I think the Rams easily take this one.
All right, Seattle and Arizona. Seattle surprised me losing at home last week.
Yeah, definitely.
Arizona, again, they're struggling. I'm just going to flat out pick Seattle in this game. I'm not really confident in this Arizona team. I wasn't from the start, and now it's just kind of playing out in front of me, I think. So I think I like the Seattle Seahawks to bounce back from a tough loss there at home, and hopefully Pete Carroll can't get his face smashed in by a football this week. We'll see what happens.
He got hit in the beak.
Yeah. He said it's not the first time he's got hit there. He's had his nose broken multiple times.
He's got to start catching balls or something. I don't know what he's
glasses.
doing.
Yeah, see, he wears those spectacles sometimes. Wear them all the time.
Yeah. But Seattle, Arizona, I think this is a pretty easy one for me. Cardinals are still trying to build off the young talent that they have. And I still think they're going to, score points. They're going to make some plays here and there, but I don't think they're going to be enough. Seattle's coming to town. Seattle's a very physical team, and with the Seattle Seahawks defense, I think they're going to give Kyler Murray some problems. And offensively, good luck, Cardinals. You failed last week. You're going to fail this week. I got Seattle.
All right, Minnesota in Chicago now. This is going to be a tough game here. We've got two tough defenses. Minnesota, we've seen where Dalvin Cook is lighting it up again. He is the guy, like I said, I would maybe a year off of him coming back, but he worked hard in the offseason and slimmed down a bit, and now he's coming back, staying healthy, and that's the thing. That's what we liked about him early on. When he was healthy, his running was it was off the charts. I mean, he was ready to start breaking some records, but then the injuries keep him backing out, and then you don't know if he's going to bounce back. So this year he looks good. They've got to secure that offense behind him, and Kirk Cousins not make the dumb mistakes here and be that guy from last year where he was just making smart decisions, high QBR, high completion percentage here, and be the guy. And what's funny, the joke is he's the $90 million game manager, and that's what they have right now,
Right.
So, but Chicago, the question's still about Mitch Trubisky. How are they going to work it? My question is with the coach of the year last year, Matt Nagy. Sometimes his play call again. I don't care how many times. Just get Tariq Cohen involved even more. I want to see more of him.
But you saw it better this week.
Yes,
and,
I did.
And Tariq Cohen, the thing with him is that he's a very, very difficult player in open space, and I think they tried to get him the ball in open space last week. They just couldn't connect. And at that time, the defense wasn't expecting anything deep because they kept throwing short passes. They kept throwing just beyond the line of scrimmage, 5-yard passes, and trying to develop the offense that way. Maybe they open it up a little bit more this week, and they got to be able to utilize him in the open field down the field. Not so much at the line of scrimmage laterally. They're going to have to attack down the field with him. I think he gives them a huge mismatch if you pair him up against their linebackers.
It's going to be a tough matchup here. This is where Joe and I might differ, but I think I'm going to go with Chicago at home. They played Green Bay tough at home in the first week. Just couldn't edge out the win there, but I think I like their chances here against Minnesota. I'm going with Chicago.
Yeah, and this is a difficult game to pick because as much as I really do love the Bears defense. They are the best defense. I'm not 100% confident in Mitchell Trubisky yet. I mean, we saw him have some success last week. Does it translate to this week? I'm not so sure. I mean, against a tough Vikings defense, now granted, they're not as good as the Bears, but they are still a tough defense. And with the Vikings' offensive weaponry and with their quarterback, Kirk Cousins, he's able to game manage, like Jim was saying. And with Dalvin Cook running the ball the way he is, I don't think Dalvin Cook's going to be able to run like he has been against this defense. They're going to make it, and they're going to prove a point. They're going to stuff Dalvin Cook, and they're going to force Kirk Cousins to take this game over. Now, was that a recipe for success for the Vikings? I don't think so. And to top it off, the Bears are home. They're another team that play very, very well at home, feeding off of the crowd. And to Jim's surprise, I'm also going with the Bears.
Oh, wow. And you know what? What I thought last night's game, how well did the Bears fans travel? Holy moly. Yeah. It was like a home game for the Bears. There's so many Bears fans in Washington in that stadium. It blew my freaking mind.
I mean, John will tell you, no one's buying tickets.
Yeah, no, nobody is. There you go. Yeah, the away team is, I mean, it's pretty crazy. All right, now moving on to Jacksonville and Denver, Joe. Now, where do you see this game going?
Here's the thing: is the Broncos' offense is inept. They can't seem to get any kind of chemistry flowing. They can't dial in what the problems are. I think it's a play calling, to be honest. I think they still. I mean, Manuel Sanders is fully healthy right now. A guy that can really take all the top off of a defense laterally. He can go deep. He can beat you short in the short game. They also have some young, talented players in Cortland Sutton who isn't getting the ball enough, I don't think. They have talented running backs, Royce Freeman and Phillip Lindsay. This offensive line isn't very good. Let's just say that right now. So don't expect them to hold up against this Jacksonville front. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to create a lot of pressure on Flacco. The Denver Broncos got to get the ball out of his hands quickly. And on the flip side of things, for the Jaguars offense, this is going to be another big test for Gardner Minshew. We saw him play well against a very tough Titans defense, which I think is more complete than the Denver defense he's going to go up against. If they can diminish the pass rush against the Broncos, I'm saying the Jaguars are going to win this game. They're going into Denver, and they're going to win because Jaguars have a very good defense. I think it's going to combat well against Denver's offense and give Gardner Minshew, the Minshew mustache, plenty of opportunity to score points.
Mm-hmm. All right, now with this game, again, I want to be high on the mustache as well too. But I see Denver when they play at home too; they're a lot tougher. This pass rush has been getting closer to what they might have been. They're nowhere near what they were when they went to the Super Bowl, but they are getting pressure now. So they're kind of a mixed team for me on defense. They were geared to would stop the run and let everybody air it out and throw on us. I don't think they're as bad as that anymore. I think this is a good team for them to get it back going here on offense. Go behind Phillip Lindsay. Get him running. Get that going. That opens it up. Joe Flacco's a veteran there back there to get it to these wide receivers. I think this is a great team, especially with some of the rattlings going on with Jalen Ramsey, and he could be sick for 10 days or 3 weeks. So I'm going to go with Denver at home.
Okay.
Pulling out their first win.
Good luck.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. Yeah, it is what it is. And I
I'm
need to get
sorry.
a game back on you. So.
I just don't have any confidence in the Broncos. They just don't look very good.
There you go. All right, now the Dallas Cowboys in New Orleans for Sunday Night Football. Joe, hit me off with the Sunday Night Football. There we go. All right. Yeah, here. The Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott march into New Orleans to face Drew Brees. No, it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater. Yes, Teddy Bridgewater pulled out the win in Seattle. So it was pretty amazing. So now this is going to throw me all off for this game.
That's right.
I am all freaking all over the place now. Because is Alvin Kamara going to light it up? Are they going to get, Michael Thomas out there getting touchdowns with Teddy Bridgewater? Are we going to see this here, a nice New Orleans win against Dallas, who Dallas didn't look so good against Miami last week? I don't know. You know what, though? I hate Dallas, so I'm going to go with New Orleans just for the hell of it, and maybe they can pull it out for me.
Know-it-alls out there, I just want to ask you the
Sometimes
question.
you just gotta do that.
Is it going to be Cowboys or the Saints for Sunday Night Football? What's your take on the game? Do you think the Saints could pull it off with Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill? Or do you think the Cowboys with Dak Prescott are going to have continued success?
2 weeks in a row.
And here's the thing. Cowboys have a really tough defense. So don't the Saints defense. The Saints defense has showed up early this year, unlike last season, and they are really putting it to teams. I don't think that's where the game is won. I think offensively, it's who can score first, who can score the most. And that's obvious to some people, but it's not so easy against these two defenses. So, I mean, with the chemistry that Dak Prescott has had, he's been throwing it to Amari Cooper. He's been spreading the ball around nicely. They're still without Michael Gallup, which I think hurts him a little bit, but Cobb is a pleasant surprise for Dallas. He's able to dump it off to him, and in much of the role that Cole Beasley once held. And the Zeke, the big key to at least slowing down the Cowboys is stopping Zeke. Can the Saints do it with this good offensive line that they have? The Saints also have a very stout offensive line. I think this is going to be a close one, but I just don't have a ton of confidence in Teddy Bridgewater right now. And if it was Drew Brees there, I would give the go-ahead to the Saints on this. But because Drew Brees isn't there, I'm going to have to go with the Dallas Cowboys to take this.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Cowboys too as well.
Stop
Even though I
copying
really
me.
wanted Teddy Bridgewater to go in and take it, but again, this is going to be a closer game. It's going to be the Saints defense. How much can they handle on their plate with this whole thing? But again, if you look at personnel altogether, the Dallas Cowboys have the more complete team. Like Joe said, if Drew Brees was in this, I'd say they've got a better shot. But I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys as well on this one, even though it hurts me.
And
All
now the barn burner of the week.
Oh, the one Monday Night Football game everybody's been waiting for, right? All right, it is Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody's psyched for this one, Joe.
I'm
right?
so excited.
Who's going to get a win?
I don't care.
Do we even bother picking this one? Does anybody want to pick this one?
I think we have to because if there's a tiebreaker or something.
You got to figure you're going to go with Andy Dalton over, Mason Rudolph, you would think, right? James Conner's struggling a little bit. Joe Mixon's running good. You know what? I'm just going to say, freaking, let's do it. No, I don't know if I'm ready to go in on that one. I was going to say Cincinnati Bengals to take out Pittsburgh and have them go 0-4, but man,
it's tough because here's the thing that you got
to. They're due for one.
Yeah, here's the thing is, and the Bengals are much like the Titans for me. I picked the Bengals to win, they lose.
Yes.
I picked them to lose, they win. So no matter what I pick, I'm going to lose in this game no matter what. So the Bengals, they have their defense. It's a decent defense. The offense is looking a little different than it used to because why? A.J. Green is not there yet. He's still recovering from injury. He will be back this season, but we're still waiting on when. Joe Mixon, like you brought out, he is running well. He is a big part of this offense. John Ross has kind of made himself the go-to receiver for at least the first couple of weeks. Last week, he didn't really get that much involved because Tyler Boyd kind of took over in company. But John Ross, I expect a big game against a Steelers secondary that usually plays predominant zone, and I think the Bengals could carve that zone defense up. However, I will say this, with that huge trade that the Steelers have pulled off with Minkah Fitzpatrick, that really solidifies that cornerback position. I think it changes this defense to make it a little bit tougher to throw on. And I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to take Mason Rudolph and the Steelers at home.
Man, there he goes.
And they are going to beat the Bengals with the red rifle at the helm with the Cincinnati Bengals.
There you go. Greg Schreiner is in the house there. He comes in. He says, I'll take the Cowboys.
You're
in
too
that
late,
one.
Greg.
Yes.
You have to...
Yes. Yeah, there you go. He says the Cowboys all day. Yeah, I can agree with that one. Again, if you look at the personnel, I mean, you got it.
See, at least Greg chimed in and gave us a pick.
Yeah,
That's
gave us
good.
a pick on that one. Yeah. How about the Pittsburgh game? Man, I'm
Hey,
torn.
Greg, real quick, I got to ask you, and I'm asking all the know-it-alls out there, for anybody that's commented in the thread, for anybody that's still watching, have you subscribed to us on YouTube?
On YouTube, yes.
Put a yes or no in the chat box.
There you go. All right. And since I just got to pick one.
You do. You just have to go with it, man. I'm going on a limb. I'm just going for it.
You're going to go on that limb?
Pittsburgh at home.
Friggin' A. Oh, man. Juju Smith-Schuster against that team. I'm going Cincinnati. I'm going to go Cincinnati on this one.
He's going
Cincy,
Cincy,
it's
everybody.
early in the season. Let's just do this.
All right, up top. Good job.
Boom. Yeah. All right. I'm going Cincinnati. Yeah, it's over
Go
now.
for it.
There you go. You
Go
know,
for
and 2 teams are on the bye week start this week, Joe.
I got an announcement to make.
Yeah, what do you got? What's the announcement to make? What do you got? Something special?
Yeah.
Breaking news?
We got some new news
Coming
coming in
breaking
here.
news. Here I got breaking news. Hold on. There it is. Via Twitter, what's the breaking news, Joe?
So I'm hearing that Nick Van Nett from the Seattle Seahawks, a tight end, he's being traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers
Really?
to make it really interesting in the tight end position. So now you not only have Vance McDonald, but you also have Nick Van Nett, who's another athletic type of tight end that can receive very well. So I don't know what that means for this week, this Monday night. I don't know if he's going to get – he might get a few reps for playing time, but I don't think he's going to make a direct impact right away.
All right. So, yeah, like I said, there's a couple bye weeks. You have the San Francisco 49ers who are resting easy. They're 3-0 and on a bye week. And on the other hand, you've got the New York Giants or New York Jets who are on 0-3 right now, and they could use the rest all they could, especially with Sam Darnold being out still. And so, I mean, a team that a lot of people were high on, again, had high expectations just because of the talent that they added to the roster. The Jets, I mean, they're not looking so good here. Some people are even calling for Adam Gase's head so early, which I don't understand that, too. Let it breathe a little bit, and you got to realize he's on his third-string quarterback.
Okay, I got some further news.
All right,
So
further news.
we
What do you
just
got
talked
now?
about Vance McDonald, right?
Yes.
It's being reported by Adam Schefter that on Tuesday, Vance McDonald was spotted with his shoulder in a sling. Now, Pittsburgh has already traded for Seahawks Nick Van Nett. So if this is true, if he's in a sling and can't perform on Monday night, look for Nick Van Nett to make an appearance.
There you go. Yeah, who knows? Let's see what happens. See how much of the offense is going to be involved in. So right now, this is our picks to where we're at now, our standings. So Joe's got me by a game. So we'll see what happens. So we picked a few different this week again. We'll see what goes on moving forward with that. So like he said, follow us subscribe to us on YouTube. We're trying to get some more subscribers there. We do
YouTube,
stream
baby.
live through 3
YouTube.
different platforms at once right now, through my personal page and Facebook and our group. I share it to our group at Football on the No Show. A lot of you guys are members in. Everybody from Facebook, we appreciate you joining in and leaving comments. Swervo Gaming, one of our guys from YouTube, we appreciate you.
Welcome back.
Showing up here every week, and it's a pleasure having you on here. And there's even Periscopians out there, that just like to lurk on us. Those people
Periscopians.
those
I
people
like
on
that.
Twitter, they like to lurk and stuff like that. So we got them out there too. And I always just like streaming through Periscope, so it's more work I don't have to do. It's automatically there on the Twitter. I don't have to share our YouTube to Twitter every night, and that's a pain. So there you go. So follow us on any of those platforms. Twitter's a lot of fun, where I get zany and in trouble sometimes on Twitter, and we give you all the information too that you can from all the latest updates, so you get on Joe's phone. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Coming in on a Tuesday, you guys came in strong and swinging. We weren't sure about